Not one time, not twice, not even 3 times. Every single time. What do I mean by that? Prominent trans LGBTQ plus activist charged with, well, just about the most despicable things you can think of in Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where somebody likes to find their victims. A prominent LGBTQ plus activist in Philadelphia has been charged with allegedly, 2 minors. Kendall Stephens, 37 years old, was arrested Monday and charged with involuntary, unlawful contact with minors, and indecent assault against people less than 13 years old. So yeah, just about everything horrible that you can find in life. Why even bother with the cot space? Oh, I'm sorry, and I didn't even realize there were other offenses there as well. Yeah, so again, why bother with lockup? Exact details of the allegations against Stephens, charges in this case, were not immediately available. Stephens, who is a trans woman, every single time, had a preliminary arraignment in Philadelphia Municipal Court Monday evening. The court records showed she, is due back in Judge Vincent W. Furlong's court on December 29th. Stephens previously made headlines when she was the victim of a vicious hate crime and group assault inside her South Philadelphia residence on August 24th, 2020. I'm sure that one was legit. Tamisha Waring, was sentenced in February to 11.5 to 23 months house arrest. Tamisha, interesting, for aggravated assault and conspiracy charges related to the role in the attack. Interesting. Okay, so we got a trans woman attacked by a real woman. So we have a couple of different things at play here. So we have black on black violence, which interesting. And then, because it would be bigoted not to point this out, trans women being real women, do we have another instance of one of those very inconvenient statistics about same-sex female relationships being the most violent? Interesting. Oh, and yet another thing at play here. Okay, so somebody was involved in a hate crime and a group beating, and then a woman only gets 11.5 to 23 months house arrest. Okay, she was also convicted of hate crimes, which Philadelphia lists in a summary offense. The outlet explained. Wearing? Okay, well, and now be eligible for paroles until after 18 months of home confinement. Okay, 120 community service hours and an apology letter to Stephens, and court monitored anger management is all completed, CBS said. Well, that's all fantastic and stuff. It's just, I wonder if those specific requisites need to be paid once this lump of shit is thrown in jail. I'm just wondering. 2020 attack made Stephens into a popular neighborhood activist who pushed local lawmakers to pursue justice for violence committed against the big gay community, the outlet reported. Interesting. I went to class the next day and I was beaten. Because, let me tell you something. Nobody was gonna steal my pride. No one was gonna steal my power. We reserve better than we have gotten. We are human beings. Stephens' bail is set at $250,000 according to court records. $250,000 for, let's just run down these offenses one more time. Okay, involuntary assault, unlawful contact with minors, indecent assault against people under the age of 13. Other offenses, and grape. Multiple charges of grape, EPAR, if you will. But in another instance of every single time, look at the company that this wonderful, very passable individual likes to keep. In fact, Shapiro Davis for PA, color me surprised. Meet Kendall Stephens. Hi, Kendall, a prominent trans activist who has just been arrested in Philadelphia for diddling a couple of kids. Kendall campaigned for governor of Pennsylvania, a Democrat. What? Kendall also supported Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner, Shapiro, a Democrat. What? He's also friendly with Senator Bob Casey, a Democrat, and calls him an ally. Huh, interesting. Wonder if he's going to put any money on your books when you're in jail. Kendall faces a list of charges, including and assault of minors. And as somebody has pointed out right here, too often, yes, many such cases. Trans woman sent to male prison, a transgender bike enthusiast, a trans woman jailed for, California, transgender, thrown in jail. 2 other such offenses there as well. But in pointing out all of these very unflattering realities, because that's what this is, okay? Obviously, this thing still hasn't had their day in court. So ultimately, we don't know who is most affected. Is somebody once again being vilified for simply being who they are? Or are they one of those degenerates in society that should be excised with a giant catapult directly into the sun? We don't know though, but the media has their take on who is the most affected this time around. Well, that would be Democrats, because trans activist Kendall Stephens arrest sparks a MAGA uproar. It's hilarious, man, because I did a video not that long ago on Shane Dawson and his interesting past, and how him and his life partner, his husband, had just adopted a pair of young boys, and how that's another one of those every single time occurrences. Why is it that gay couples just always seem to buy boys? It's weird. It's almost like nobody's ever looked into some of these studies that just show what ends up happening in those scenarios. But no. Crack down on pedos, and MAGA's the problem. What? 37-year-old arrest of, activist. That's hilarious that you still want to call Kendall Stephens an activist. Normally, you would say anybody that's accused of anything, you would go ahead and affix the accusations pinned on them, but not this time around, right? Sparked social media discourse on Tuesday. Stephens was arrested Monday for all of those things that I don't want to repeat again. Her arrest, whatever, comes amid a cultural clash between So this becomes a culture war thing. This is a kid diddler. What are you doing? The LGBTQ community conservatives have long opposed the expansion of, gay rights. Which ones don't they have, by the way? I'm just asking. But many in the community have warned the uptick in, oh my god, homophobia and transphobia. See, when you're a Republican, you can go ahead and point to that and go, that's kind of ridiculous, unless, of course, they're college kids on campus saying that if we don't feel safe where we're at, then all of a sudden you want to excise all of those dastardly hate speech enthusiasts. Very strange, as well as an increase in anti-gay legislation. Like what? Where you can't talk about sexuality with kids? I guess that's anti-gay. Weird. Why would you say that? They have also warned at the spread of grooming accusations against their community. Well, stop wanting to talk with kids, you bunch of weirdos. Critics say grooming allegations baselessly associate the community with pedophilia. May I remind you what we're discussing here? Pointing to a lack of evidence showing gay people are no more likely to commit those acts than the general population. Then why? Can we point to so many examples? At a certain point in time, you can't just say that this is just simply an exception. This might end up being the rule. The investigation into Stephens began after Philadelphia Police Special Victims Units received reports of previous essays on 2 minor children in September. What a wonderful turn right there. Oh, it's just a harmful stereotype. And now we're just going to get into the facts of this, because facts actually don't care about your feelings. A spokesperson for the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office, a close personal friend of Stephens, by the way, confirmed to Newsweek that charges were referred after being filed by the Philadelphia Police Department. Philadelphia news station WCAU reported that the victims were 2 boys aged 9 and 14. The grandmother of one of the victims reported to police on September 25th that Stephens allegedly assaulted her grandson. Stephens is accused of abusing one boy at least 3 separate times since 2022, the news station reported. Remember, guys, just an exception. Second boy told police he was also assaulted by Stephens and that she provided him gifts out of nowhere. Fantastic. She allegedly told one of the victims he would be locked up if he told anybody about the abuse. Well, yeah, of course. Hallmarks of these type of activities, taking advantage of younger individuals. Okay, don't worry about the kids, okay? It's the big gay community most affected, as Colin Rugg points up. points out rather, 37-year-old transgender Kendall Stephens has been arrested for allegedly, two minors under the age of 13. Well, one's 9 and one's 14, so that's not true. Somebody fact check this person at 14. Even though all of this happened in 2022, allegedly, it started to happen then. So 13, it becomes 12, and it becomes even more disgusting, even more than it already is. It takes it from a 9 to a 10. This is why the death penalty exists. Yeah. Because, okay, you want to cite a lack of studies. How about the studies that indicate sexual predators have a very, 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 very high rate of recidivism? Just saying. Stephens is a vocal big gay activist and has worked with lawmakers to protect the big gay community. Because, of course, they knew this day was coming. Conservative commentator Ollie London wrote on X, Stephens has been considered a prominent activist for the big gay community and previously urged lawmakers to change Pennsylvania's hate crime statutes to include protections for LGBTQ plus peoples. Others, however, raised concerns about the response to her arrest. Rashid A. Kendall Stephens' discourse is so rough because it also just invites unnecessary transphobia. No, it's just people doing some different types of noticing, going, wow, why is it every time that we hear about this, it's either a 20-something-year-old teacher or the usual suspects? She should be made accountable for her actions, for sure. Weird, but all the false equivalents of common actions of the big gay community is 100% invalid. But if enough people are talking about it, isn't a conversation worth having? Nah, man, just go ahead and sweep it up underneath the rug and get ready to celebrate. Get ready to participate in 2024 Pride Month celebrations, because they're going to be, well, be a few activists down, and if they continue on this trajectory, those parades are going to get a hell of a lot shorter. Not because of any new laws that are going to be in place, it's just because, well, there's not going to be anybody left to hop into a pair of assless chaps, well, chaps are assless by design, and hand out candy to kids being taken to these degenerate parades by a bunch of single mothers. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.